where we're going to be talking today about ASQ, the regular one, as well as the ASQ social emotional. So the couple things that you guys are going to need for practice today are these, there we go, these questionnaires. So this one is Andrew's questionnaire. I'll show you where to find these as well. We have Emily's questionnaire. And then we have both of those two students, again, Andrew and Emily, but for the social emotional one. So let me share my screen so I can show you where to get those. These are in your book as well. And I'm not exactly sure what page in the book it is, but you can flip towards, I think it's kind of towards the back, and you can find these in there as well. But in our modules, underneath the ages and stages questionnaire, I have information about ASQ. You should have already read that information and watched and looked through the presentation. You should have been doing all of that stuff. But we're going to be looking at these students down here. So we're going to look at Andrew, and then we're going to look at Emily. And let me collapse that one. For the social emotional, same thing. There's all of this information for you guys to look at. So you can understand what it is and why we're doing these screeners. And then you can see Andrew's and Emily's. Those are the two that we're focusing on today for our practice. So with ASQ, it is done by months. So we need to know exactly how old the child is for us to be able to have the correct screener to go along with it. So in my ages and stages, both in this one and the social emotional one, you're going to find a link that's called the ASQ calculator. And here's where you're going to put the date you're giving the test. So let's say that I'm giving the test today. The child, I need to figure out when is their birthday. We're going to choose, this child was born on January 17th, 2003. If a child is premature, we need to know by how many weeks, but I'm going to put 0 for this one. And then I'm going to calculate. And I'm scrolling down and it's telling me by months and days. So that's going to tell me which ASQ I need to use and which ASQ SE that I need to use. So when I'm trying to figure out which one of those questionnaires to pull to do it on a student, that's how I'm going to figure out which ones I need to use. So that link is, like I said, right there within your modules. It's called the ASQ calculator. You can do it manually, but it's a whole lot easier just to use that tool that's there. So the other thing that you're going to need to know is where are you going to find the one that you need for the student that you're going to do these screeners on. And if I scroll down right underneath that ASQ calculator, you're going to see the ASQ screening tools by month. It's going to take you to these files. And here you can see the month. So this is 2 month, 4 month. Remember the one that we just did, it said 30 months. So I'd be scrolling to the one that says 30 month. Same thing when we get to the ASQ SE. Go to that one, scroll down. Underneath the calculator is the ASQ SE screening tool by month. And again, we're looking for the 30 month. Actually, let me see here. Oh, no, it's showing me all. Okay, so anyway, that's where you're going to find the ones specific to your student. But we're going to go ahead and practice so you know exactly how to score, because it can be a little bit confusing. Again, you should have already watched the video, looked at the note sheets, looked through the PowerPoint, all of that kind of stuff. So I'm not going to go over all of the details about ASQ. We're just going to be practicing the scoring part because everything else is available to you. So it's really important for you to understand how we score. when we are scoring an ASQ, that's our regular ASQ, the ASQ free. After we figure out which one that we're using, there are 3 different value points that we need to know. Parents are going to be answering either yes, sometimes, or not yet. If they answer yes, that's going to be 10 points. If they answer sometimes, that's 5 points. And if they answer not yet, that gets them 0 points. So if I take a look, we're going to go to Andrews. Here. All right, so we're going to take a look at Andrews right here. Andrew, we're doing the 16th month questionnaire on. The parent, Vicky, went ahead and filled out this first page. If you are doing this with real people, like with your classes, once you're working in a child care facility, you obviously want to fill out all the information. But you can see right here in this communication section where there's the yeses, sometimes, and not yet. So I want to give us a moment here, and we're gonna do this together. We're gonna score this one together, and then we're gonna do Emily's on your own, and then we'll figure out what everybody came up with. So Andrew's communication. How many points should Andrew get for that very first number 1? Somebody's gonna have to unmute. Anybody?
Should it be 10?
I can see that you're trying to talk, but I can't. I'm not hearing anything.
Is it 10?
Lakeisha, I see that you're trying to talk, but I'm not hearing anything at all.
Can you hear me now?
So number 1, over here on the side, I should write 10 for 10 points. Because remember, yes is 10, sometimes is 5, not yet is 0. So I should have 10. So number 2, how many points do I get there?
5.
Somebody else unmute and see if it'll let you talk. I don't know what.
She said 5.
I'm not hearing anybody. Let me see if.
5.
Try saying something again.
5.
I don't know what's happening. I can't hear anybody, which means it's probably on my side. Okay, so just if you have any other questions, let's use the chat box to answer. Let me find it again. And some of you are already doing the chat box. Fantastic. All right, so number 2, we have 5. What about number 3? Yes, 10. 4. Or should also be 5. 5. If it's not yet, it gets 0. So that would be 0, and 6 would be 0. So now I want to add up my communication total. So I have 10 plus 5 plus 10 plus 5 plus 0 plus 0. So what is my total for communication? Put it in the chat box. Yes, 30 is my communication total. So it's really easy if you just remember yes is 10, sometimes is 5, not yet is 0. All right, so let's go to our next section, which is gross motor. So these first three are all yes, which means they're all going to be 10. So I'm going to have 10 plus 10 plus 10. And then on the next page, we finish our questions for that section. We have another yes and another yes. So it's going to be 10 and 10. And then we have a not yet. So that gives us how many total for the gross motor section. Make sure that you're using, remember the first three parts of that gross motor were on that other page. So yes, 20 would be from this page, but we need them from that other one too. Yes, 50. So our gross motor total right here is going to say 50. All right, now I'm going to scroll down to my fine motor section. So 1 is 10, 2, 5, 3, 10, 4, 10, 5, 0, 6, 0. So what is my total in the fine motor section? Yes, 35. And now I'm going to scroll down. This one gets broken up across 2 pages too. For problem solving, not yet is 0. Number 2, 10, 3, 10, 4, 10, 5, 0, 6, 10. So what is my total in problem solving? Go back and count again. We have 4 yeses, which are 10 points each, and 2 not yets, which are 0 points. So that total section should be 40. All right, personal social. Number 1, yes is 10. 2, yes is 10. 3, yes is 10. 4, they left that blank. They forgot to answer it, or they didn't answer it. Maybe it's a cultural thing and they're not introducing mirrors yet. If nothing is marked, you go ahead and put 0. If there are more than 3 questions within a questionnaire that are missing, then there's some other protocol that we can go by. But if it's 1 or 2 that are missing, then we just score that as 0. Yes, 10, 6, sometimes 5. So what's our total for personal social? Yes, 45. Now there's another area where parents get to type in what they get to write the answers to some questions, how they feel that their child does these different things. They get to say yes or no, and then they also have an area for comments. So those are really important as well, because that's going to tell us a little bit more about the child. So you're going to use all of that information in just a moment. The last page is this information summary. Ooh, I should have done that the whole time. Is this information summary page. This is what we're going to transpose all of that other information from those other pages onto here. This one is really important. It collects all the information in a quick and easy to read document. And this is also something that can then be taken to pediatricians for them to understand kind of how the child's development is going as well. All right, so the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to do this score transfer. And so in here, It's really nice and easy because we're just going to fill in the bubble for each of the different areas. And then the colors in this chart are going to tell us, should we be worried about this child? Do we need to monitor this child? Or do we need to have additional assessment and follow up because this child is truly lagging behind? So those colors really help us in quickly identifying that. So I'm going to give you a moment to fill out this top section. So you're going to put the total score and then fill in the bubble that goes along with it. So our communication, that was 30. So I'm going to type 30 and then I'm going to bubble in 30. Gross motor was 50. Fine motor was 35. Problem solving was 40. And personal social was 45. So after filling that in, tell me which of the areas the child is proficient at. So they don't need any follow-up, no more monitoring. That's going to be anything that's in the white area. So what are the 2 areas that these children are okay in? Personal social is 1. What's the other? Right, the other is gross motor. So those 2 areas that this child, Andrew, he is developing as he should. Now, anything in the gray area is going to be where we want to do some monitoring. That there's nothing wrong, there's no red flags, but it's something that we might want to provide some follow-up activities and just kind of monitor how that child's doing. And so those are going to be his other 3 areas. That's going to be communication, his fine motor, and his problem solving. So that chart really quickly tells us where that child falls. The next part is that transfer overall responses. So those are going to be those yes/no questions. So I'm going to give you a moment to transpose those as well. And if there are any comments that the parent wrote, make sure that those get transferred to the sheet as well. Because a doctor or any kind of follow-up assessment person, they're not going to have the individual score sheet. They're just going to have this summary one. So you don't want to just leave it on the one that the parent filled out. So I'm going to give you just a moment to go ahead and fill out that section. So 1, no, ignores me. 2, no. Doesn't say much. 3, 4, and 5 are all yes. His grandmother used his hearing aids. Number 6, no. Number 7, yes. Some ear infections. Number 8, no. Number 9, yes. What's interesting on this one is that the parent did circle or did check off yes. Does anything else about your child worry you? But then they didn't fill it in. So that might be something that you want to follow up with the parent regardless. All right, so we've transferred that information. And so now I need to decide what I need to do. So this child, we've got he's got quite a bit of monitoring areas. He sometimes ignores the mom. He doesn't say much. His grandmother uses hearing aids, so maybe there is some kind of hearing issue that's going on. He does have allergies and infections a lot, so those might be blocking some of his hearing to be able to hear, and then also in speaking because he's not hearing everything. So it seems like maybe there would be some things that we would want to do with that child. So the follow-up action taken, you're going to check all that apply. Maybe we want to provide some activities and rescreen in a few months and see if, because that's kind of monitoring, we're seeing what's happening. If we've got a lot of gray, but kind of closer to that black, or definitely in that black area, we might want to share the results with a primary care physician. So, or there might be no further action. So anyway, you're going to check any or all of those. And then that very last section is this part right here, where we're going to answer, we're going to put in each individual answer in here. So one was yes, so I'm just putting a Y. Communication 2 was sometimes, so I'm putting an S. Communication 3 was yes. Communication 4 was sometimes. Communication 5 was zero. Was not yet. So N. And number 6 was N. So across this row, it would say Y, S, Y, S, N, N. And that's important too, because other people who work with this ASQ are able to pull up the blank form to know what kind of questions were asked, to where that score comes from. So you don't ever just want to leave that blank because, again, you're thinking, well, I already have this one, this 6 pages that the parent filled out. This document is to have it all summarized on this one sheet. So let's see. So gross motor is going to be Y, 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 N. Fine motor is Y, S, Y, Y, N, N. Problem solving is N, Y, 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 N, Y. And personal social is Y, Y, Y. I'm leaving number 4 blank because remember that parent did not answer that question. But then Y, S. So I should have that back sheet completely filled out now. Do you think you're ready to try one on your own? Get out of this one. Let's find our next person. All right, so the next one that you guys are going to practice on your own is going to be Emily. So if you go to your ages and stages questionnaire, we're going to go down here to Emily. And I want you to go through the same process. So you are going to go through, give the tens, fives, or zeros in each total area. Make sure you write those totals. And then we'll come back and talk about what you came up with and see if everybody's on the same page, and then go ahead and start filling out our information summary sheet. So I'll give you, I think this should not take more than 5 minutes. So I'll give you 5 minutes to work on that. All right, I have our timer started. All right, our timer is up. So let's check our work. So I'm going to scroll down to the very end. So we're looking at this summary sheet. Find you guys again. Okay. So in here for communication, our total score should have been what? $30. Gross motor, 50. Fine motor, 45. Problem solving, 35. And personal social, 30. So hopefully everybody got those. Communication, 30. Gross motor, 50. Fine motor, 45. Problem solving, 35. Personal social, 30. So after you write your total scores, make sure that you check your boxes, you bubble in your boxes, so we can see where the children are having trouble. So in this child scenario, what areas what area is in the black? So communication is in the black. Communication is right there at that 30. Gross motor, that's in our white, so that one's fine. Fine motor, that one is in the white as well, so that one's fine. Problem solving is in that gray area, so it's in that monitoring area. And then the personal social is also in that gray area. So we do have some things that we might want to do some follow up with. All right, so go ahead and transfer over all of your other responses. So transfer those yes, no questions with any comments. And also go ahead and fill out that number 5 section with your Y's and N's. And I'll go ahead and start the timer again. This should probably take you about 2 minutes. Okay. So in our number 2 section, we should have yes, no. The comment is doesn't talk much. Yes, yes, yes. No, no, no. Yes, yes. And down here, I should have in my communication going across my row, Y, Y, S, S, N, N, S, Y, S, Y, Y, Y. Fine motor, Y, 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 S, S, S. Problem solving, Y, 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 S, N, N. And personal social, Y, S, 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 N, S. So based on the information from this sheet is where I'm going to decide what follow-up actions are needed. Remember that communication was in the black, so that's probably something that we need to look at. So that's probably going to go to a healthcare provider. Or maybe it's something that we want to have more hearing, vision, or behavioral screening done. So anyway, that you're going to check that. So that is how we do the regular ASQ to look at our communication, gross motor, fine motor, problem solving, and personal social. The other one we're going to do is going to be social and emotional specific, and the scoring is different and not quite as straightforward. Let's come out of this screen, and I just want to show you one more time, whatever child that you pick to do the ASQ on, they just need to be less than 5 years old, and you can find the calculator for figuring out what screening tool you need to use by clicking here, and then you find the screening tool by clicking that other link. All right, so now let's jump into our next one. Our next one being, let's see. I want to make sure, there we go. Okay, our next one, let's close this. On the social emotional, again, we're going to start with Andrew, and then you're going to do Emily on your own. So the important things to know about the ASQ SE is that the scoring is different. So the things you need to know are if they mark Z, they get 0 points. If they mark V, they get 5 points. And if they mark X, they get 10 points. And again, it gets a little bit tricky because let's take a look at this. Z, V, and X are not always in the same order. So you really need to pay attention as you are scoring each column. Also, if they mark this other column that the parent thinks it's a concern, then we're going to add those two together. So V plus V with 5 plus 5 is going to be 10. So it's a little bit more challenging. So let's take a look at Andrew's and see how we do. Remember, Z is 0, V is 5, and X is 10. So if I'm taking a look at Andrew, number 1, 5 plus 5 is 10. Z is 0. 3, Z is 0. 4, Z is 0. 5, Z is 0. 6, Z is 0. And 7, V is 5. And so 5 plus 5 is 10, which means my total points on this page are 20. Let's go to the next page. I need to get my chat back up so I can see you guys. Did I repeat the scores? Lakeisha, you asked a question. Sorry, I had my chat small. Okay, perfect. All right, so on number 8, Z is 0, so my column is 0. 9, X is 10. So X plus that V, which is 5, equals 15. Number 10, Z, 0. 11, Z, 0. 12, Z, 0. 13, V and V, so that's 5 plus 5 is 10. 14, Z is 0. 15, Z is 0. And 16, Z is 0. So the total on this page is going to be 25. All right, number 17, Z is 0. 18, V and V, so 5 plus 5 is 10. 19, X is 10. Number 20, Z, so 0. 21, Z, 0. 22, Z, 0. 23, Z, 0. 24, Z, 0. 25, Z, 0. So the total on this page is going to be 20. 26, Z, 0. 27 is V and V, so 5 plus 5 is 10. 28, V, so 5. 29, V plus V again, so 5 plus 5 is 10. Same thing for 30, V plus V, so it's 5 plus 5 is 10. And 31 is X, so that's 10. So the total on this page should be 45. And just like in our ASQ, there are chances for parents to write specific things. Let's see. Yes. So I have a yes and anything else about the child. So now if I go to my scoring sheet, we're going to do the same types of things again. How many points per page? So on page 1, our total was 20. On page 2, our total was 25. On page 3, our total was 20. On page 4, our total was 45. So our entire total score is 110. So I'm going to write my total score here. I'm going to write my total score up here. 110 is higher than the cutoff. I'm looking at this arrow here. So 110 is going to be over here in that black area. So with the ages and stages, the colors were backwards. It started black, gray, white. This time we start with white, then gray, then black. So definitely this one, we've got some concerns. So we're going to mark the child's area score is in the black area. So we might need to further assess this child. Then in section 3, were there any questions that the parent marked that there were extra concerns? Remember, those were all of those extra V's at the end that could get added to any score. And so this parent, yes, they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So yes, I'm going to circle yes. And I'm going to put, let me find my score sheet page. There we go. And I'm going to write down the question numbers that they put that on. So it was 1 and 7 and 9 and 13 and 18 and 27, 29 and 30. 27, 29 and 30. All right, and let's see. Number 32, they said yes, and 33, they said yes. And again, if there are any things written there, then I'm going to transfer that over and put it with the comments as well. So that's where we're getting all of our information from. And then we have our follow-up referral considerations. And then our follow-up action. So, the follow-up referrals, anything that you can see to check, you can check all of them or you can check none of them. But remember, this parent had concerns. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and check that one. The other things I might not know about, not being a classroom teacher. But if you were the classroom teacher, you would obviously know some of those different things. And then you're gonna choose the follow-up action. So this one is a bit more tricky than the regular ASQ, but once you get the hang of it, it makes it a little bit easier. And the ASQ on this one, it reminds you what you're scoring each of those different ones. So that's really helpful. I wish the other one had those reminders on it. All right, so now I'm gonna give you time again to do one on your own. Let's just see if we come up with the same stuff. So this time I'm finding Emily. I'm gonna give you that 5 minutes to work through it. Find my pumpkin. Remember, as you're scoring this one, Z is 0, V is 5, X is 10. A. All right, so let's scroll back to the last page and let's see if we got the same stuff. The total points on page 1 is 10. Total points on page 2 is 40. Total points on page 3 is 15. Total points on page 4 is 20, giving us a total score of 85. So I'm going to write it here, but then I'm also going to write it over here. So 85 puts us right there on the line. It's on the line in between monitoring and referring. So on this one, I'm going to go ahead and check off that gray area, even though it is right there on the line. Overall responses and concerns. There was a concern from the parent. It was just one of them. So I'm going to circle yes and write the number 10 because it was question number 10. Number 37 and 38, we had yes and then no. And then any comments that parents wrote in, make sure that you add that in there. And the parent concerns, yes, we did have a parent concern. So I'm going to go ahead and check that one. And of course, if I know the child better or the family better, I'm able to check some of these other things. And then I need to choose what kind of follow-up I'm going to do. So that gave you some practice with doing both the ASQ 3 and the ASQ SE, so that you're going to be able to do those on a child that is under the age of 5. These are due July 30th, so you have a little bit of time to still find your person and do these. And does anybody have any other questions? See people typing? This can be a confusing assignment. Oh, good. Everybody seems to be all right. This can seem to be a confusing assignment if you haven't had practice in scoring it. But once you get started, so now that you've attended this, it'll make a lot more sense to you. Just remember that use the same child for both of them. You probably want to do them at different times. And a lot of it is stuff that you're asking the parent the questions about these. It's not that the child is demonstrating all of this to you at that time. So, all right, well, if you have any other questions, you know how to reach me. Thank you for spending an hour with me this morning. I know that it's a completely online class, so it's hard to do. But I wanted to make sure that I was available for you guys to answer any questions that you have. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I look forward to learning about the students that you do your ASQs on. Bye.